From the creativity within our minds to the content beyond one platform, there is only one Gamers Feud.
That is a cursed looking Mega Man, Jesus. That is a very cursed Mega Man if I've ever seen one.
And then, yeah, that one launches them. Then jump cancel. Yeah, I see. I get it. I can cook. I can cook.
Ooh. Oh. Can we talk about that?
Joke's on you, I like cops.
What the hell? Ninja in their ranks?
What is Jack doing?
Are you telling me I need to lose weight? Yeah. I'm telling you. I'm telling you. Lose it. Fake back here. Why are these guys even fighting?
Pub was looking at the floor. She hit the floor. Next thing you know, Shawty got low.
Hello, and welcome to another episode of Streamers Den. I am your host today, Napo Ellis. I know we were supposed to have our new host, it's Brenna Rose, on here today, but unfortunately she had an emergency she had to deal with. So I'm going to be hosting today, but yeah. Where's Brenna? Thank you for that. But yeah, so I'm going to be hosting for today. We are doing Fight Night Roundtable, so we're going to be talking about all things basically fighting games. So we're going to talk about the community, the games themselves, the people on the back end, maybe like casters, esports, the developers themselves, things like that. But you saw some of the creators that we're going to be having on the show today. Some of them, unfortunately, as well, could not make it. But we do still have 8 amazing creators on here today. So at any point, if you do want to follow them or check out any of their socials, you can do !cast, and you can find all their links. But for right now, let's get all the creators on the screen and hear from them. Hello, everyone.
Hello.
How's it going?
Hi, what's up, bud?
How is everyone feeling tonight?
Doing good.
I'm excited.
Good.
Science and I'm still alive.
Well, thank you so much, everyone, for joining me. We are going to be talking about the amazing thing that is the fighting game community. You know, sometimes they can be super accepting. Sometimes they'll just grapple you and body slam you in a game for like 8 minutes straight. It happens, but we want to hear all of your experiences throughout the entire stream tonight. Like I did say to everyone in the stream, they can do !cast at any point to find all of your links for your streams. But I know we do probably want to kind of hop into the topics a little bit, but before we do that, I kind of want to get everyone's experience with fighting games and just let me know like which one you would say you're probably the best at, and like if anybody here challenge you, you could probably body slam them for a little bit and just kind of like beat up on them. So we're going to start from the top and work our way down to the bottom. Just give us a little bit about your experiences. So Ava, if you could start us off.
Hey, what's good? Back like I never left. Well, I ain't been here. That's the intro. But with fighting games, I've been playing fighting games as a kid a lot. Like, I'm not a pro fighting game player, but I have taken down some people in bracket before in the various games I play. I come from primarily a lot of like growing up. It had always fluctuated, but I would definitely say until like Smash Bros for Wii U, my main game was Smash Brothers and Blaze Blue. I also love tag games, so Marvel was the thing I will play as well a lot if I can, every chance I get. So you want to play me in Smash? At least Ultimate, at least not Melee. I ain't there yet, but Ultimate, I could probably hang.
Okay. BSB.
So for me, I played a bunch of fighting games, I'd say, but main one, bittermost is Melee. I guess I've dabbled in all of them, but Melee, I think I've dumped like 10 years. So ever since a wee little boy, just going to locals and all that. But I definitely think it's one of the harder games to really like enjoy. But once you get to that point, it's like you can't leave. You can't leave. It's great.
100%. Dougler.
Hi. I'd say Smash Brothers Melee as well. It's just a lot faster than modern Smash nowadays, and it's just I like it so much. It's like your reaction has to be on point. So I would say I'm really good at both games, Melee and Ultimate. I've been playing well since the game came out, but in a competitive wise, probably about 20. I want to say 2019, 2018. So it's kind of like 5 years and stuff like that. And ever since then, I've just learned a lot over the years, especially from people who've been beating me constantly. And I ended up getting a coach after a while. So, yeah. That's about it.
Posh, I believe you are up next.
Okay, so man, let me say, so I have been playing fighting games for honestly as long as I can remember. If any of you've seen my banner picture on my Twitch, it's a picture of me when I was a little boy playing Super Street Fighter 2 on Super Nintendo at my grandmother's house. There's a little lore there. For those of you that don't know where that picture comes from, but competitively, I've been playing competitively since Tekken 4. I played in Tekken 4, 5, 6, all the way up to Tekken 8 now. I've played and competed in not just Tekken, no, Street Fighter, Mortal Kombat, Marvel, Smash, almost any fighting game you could think of. I have played it at some point and competed in it. So I would like to say that my knowledge of fighting games is pretty broad. I'm familiar with a lot of them. So I'm really looking forward to these conversations today.
Well, thank you so much for being involved. Silly Sandy.
For me, I started off with the original Street Fighter in arcades, but I've actually played just about all of them, from KOF, Tekken, pretty much every anime game I could get my hands on, Dead or Alive. But I think the one I'm best at is probably King of Fighters. I'm always playing as all the female characters, so I'm always kicking butt in those. Especially King Yuri and Mai.
Valid. SSK.
All right, so my best fighting game is one you'd never heard of because it's Canadian, Super Maple Hockey Fighters. No, I'm kidding. I honestly haven't played fighting games since I was a kid, and I got to play Super Smash Bros. On the Nintendo 64 like once, and I got to play King of Fighters at an arcade once or twice. I am here to represent the audience that doesn't know about fighting games. I'm here to ask the dumb questions so you don't have to. Seriously though, I have very little experience. I'm here to learn.
T-Mart.
I have been playing fighting games since Street Fighter on the Sega Genesis. I've been competing for about 6 years. I took the last 2 years off because life stuff. But I would say my best games are Street Fighter and Tekken. I'm one of those dirty grappler mains that will back you into a corner and throw you on your head repeatedly. But aside from that, I'm a nice guy.
That's how it always is, by the way.
Yeah.
How they
Yeah,
always say.
we know we're crooks. We know we will rob you, but we'll shake your hands afterwards and say,
I think
"Hey,
you're the
have a good
first. I
day."
think you're the first grappler player I've ever heard say that.
Well,
We
Fair enough.
honest gamer
It's
guys.
usually the actions.
yeah.
I
So
respect it.
I'm not gonna lie. I'm not gonna sugarcoat it.
Well, fair
I'ma throw
enough. Fair enough. Last but certainly not least, Bass.
Bass or base doesn't matter. But hi. I have been playing fighting games my entire life, and for the past 9 years, I've been a professional Killer Instinct player. And then I'm also playing Street Fighter 6 right now, and then I'm trying to get known there now.
That's awesome. Well, we have a lot of different ranges of experience, from kind of newer to very well experienced, even professionals. So I think let's hop into our first topic. I kind of want to gauge everyone's thoughts on this. With all of these different fighting games that exist, there's probably hundreds, if not hundreds of thousands. What do you consider the fighting game that is most new player friendly, and what elements of that game makes them easier for beginners to pick up and enjoy?
I think the Dragon Ball Fighter Z might be the best one because their story mode actually walks you through how to do each of the commands and how to implement them.
Dragon Ball Fighters is a good one. I would say Guilty Gear Strive. Um, it's very simple to play. The game has pretty decent tutorials that give you a pretty good idea of how to play the game, and damage is very high in that game. So it doesn't require you to learn a bunch of complex combos to get your opponent up out of here. So that's always a good thing for beginners because feeling like you have to learn an extensive combo to beat somebody, it could be very discouraging for a lot of new players. So that's something you don't have to deal with Strive.
Right. I think my answer to this is it's very nuanced and not that simple because if you really enjoy something or interested in something, like you would legitimately go out your way to really learn it at the end of the day, right? Like if you're interested in the game enough. But when it comes to player friendly newcomer fighting games, it all comes down to like what do you struggle with when you learn gaming? Like everybody's experience is different. So personally, from a pick up and play experience, I would tell you currently out of the main ones, I would tell you Street Fighter 6 and Grand Blue Fantasy versus Rising. Those would be my main two to tell people to try out from a beginner standpoint. Plus the tutorials in those games do help you get to the general gist of how things work. And what's really good about both of those games, they show the moves, what they do, they explain how to do them, and they give you character tutorials as well. So just because you learn how to play the game, now you gotta learn how to play a character. And when you learn that, that could be the struggle. Like, all right, I know how to play the game. I don't know what I'm doing. That game helps you get past those initial beginner hurdles that stop you from playing the game. So I recommend those two.
If I can piggyback off of Yaya,
Mhm.
with regards with Street Fighter 6 has online training mode now that you can set up with custom rooms. So if you know someone else that has the game, or you hit someone up on Twitter or Discord or whatever, you can set up a room and you can ask them, "Hey, how do you do this? How do you do that?" And you can have someone show you in real time, and you can see the input. So if you're messing up an input, you'll have someone there that can tell you, "Hey, you're hitting up when like you're accidentally jumping up when you're supposed to move right or whatever."
That
So
is
it's
incredible.
very helpful to new players. I've helped a few people that have never played a fighting game until Street Fighter 6,
Yeah.
and they're doing pretty well so far.
That's
For
actually
me,
genuinely incredible.
I was gonna say definitely Tekken 8, especially now that it provides you with all the frame data, and because with the previous Tekken games, since it was arcade releases, you'd have to, I guess, purchase the frame data, yada yada yada. But I've had a lot of friends pick up Tekken 8, and I've been just trying to like show them the ropes, and both not gonna promote modern controls, but as a newcomer that's never played a fighting game, Tekken does have that option, and then they you know play the game enough and develop like I guess like an urge to get better, and then from there like you can like they like follow your lead, and then you can like stray them away from not using modern. But like I definitely think Tekken 8 with like the new AI ghost system, like I can play a bunch of ranked, and then I can be like, yo, you want to practice against me while I'm not home, play my ghost, like it's definitely like a cool feature that I haven't seen in a lot of newer fighting games.
So I've seen it a lot, but Brawlhalla, how friendly is that to like new people? Because I know it's like on PC and also console, and it's kind of like more side scroller fighting game. So I didn't know like how hard it would be to pick it up.
Like a platformer.
I can say this as a person, Brawlhalla as a game, it's the concept of easy to play, hard to master. Because once you start ranking up in the game, or like let's say like let's just give you a general idea. Like once you get past the first couple levels of like playing ranked, then you have to learn how like weapons affect the gameplay and how to throw the items as well. How can you use it to stack damage? And I think the game itself is like you can, for a lot of people, playing in progression is how a lot of people really wants to say how they learn fighting games. They don't. A lot of people are scared of the lab. That's the honest truth. People don't want to train 24/7, right? And Brawlhalla as a game could be very beginner friendly to get you into it. I don't know if they have tutorials. I played Brawlhalla when it came out for the first 3 years, so I don't know about now, but I know the ease of access and accessibility with that game because you could use the keyboard, control, and everything else, similar to like Multiverses, if y'all remember that, and it's coming back. It's very accessible in that front. So
Yeah, I've never really played it that much myself, even though it's a platform fighter, but like I've had a lot of friends play it back in the day, and I still think it's crazy how it's still as popular. So, I can't be mad at that for a game for surviving this long. Gotta praise it.
True. Well, I guess on that same note, what personally helped you improve as a player, and what would you recommend for others? I know someone said the lab, but I feel like a lot of things, like a lot of people say, it's just like people don't always want to go in there and like grind out. Some people just want to be able to pick up a game and just be able to play it for fun. If they get like beat up on, they might not want to pick it up again, or they might take a little bit of a break. So I kind of want to see what personally helps you.
For me, I always recommend make a friend, have someone to play with.
Always be willing to learn. Realize that there's always something new to discover. I found players that were infinitely more skilled than me, and they kind of beat me until I asked questions. Like they beat me repeatedly. I'm talking like 10-0, 20-0, just rampant beatdowns. But they went over the replays with me, and they're like, hey, this is how you're playing. This is what you could be doing in this situation. How do you want to play this game? How do you want to win? So just always try to learn, and just try to play people that might know a little bit more than you and ask questions.
So picking off of Team Art, sorry. I've also had friends who've are infinitely better than me, and they've also showed me. They said, "Okay, Doug, this is what you're doing for your habits. This is what you're doing repeatedly over and over and over, and you're doing the same thing. You're becoming predictable." They taught me how to do mix-ups, learn my neutral better, my movement. Each character has frame data, right? So once you study your frame data and learn your frame data, when the moves come out, you will be able to infinitely perhaps do better and win your next match or something, vice versa. And you just keep going at it. You just keep practicing and practicing with your character or characters, sorry, and just go from there. So having a coach is nice, but also having someone who can give you that feedback that you can't see for yourself is really valuable.
Yeah, I would say that yeah, all of you guys have been super right, and you know, having someone to help you who is a little further along with the game is like the greatest amount of help. Because for me, you know, I mean, to be honest, I mean, Lil Majin was the one who introduced me to the greater fighting game community. He's one of my best friends. We've been friends since like high school, and you know, I met him in an arcade. At this time, you know, I was the best fighting game player in my small friend group, and I wanted to improve. And if any of you guys remember the Tekken Zaibatsu forums, I posted on there in the local forum for my area. We met up at an arcade called a Funfair Arcade. We're from Memphis, Tennessee. If those of you don't know, it's no longer here anymore, unfortunately. But you know, that is where me becoming part of the FGC started, because I met him and his brother Big Majin. We used to play every Saturday, and I would lose infinitely. I had never played anyone as good as them at the time, but I was determined to improve. And something that new players need to already have in their minds when they decide that, oh, I want to learn this game or that game, is that it's a process. And you know, I know you see people online posting, you see so many people posting combos, different setups and things like that. And so you're like, oh man, you think it's simple. And then you get in there and find out it's not. And some people can't handle that. But I say all the time that you have to have that in mind and give yourself time. You have to give yourself time to learn. You know, don't be so focused on how good everyone else around you is, and just focus on your own personal improvement. And if you stick with it, you will improve.
Okay.
So with me, since a lot of the games I play aren't really that popular with other people, especially when they're like niche anime games and such, I actually found that I learn more when I go through the story mode, so I can actually see how the computer is actually using moves against me, and I actually use that to practice against them. So I actually go through the story mode as different characters to find out what these characters are able to do, and then I look at the command menu to practice those moves myself.
You know, I just gotta let y'all know, man, that is like some. I really like that you said that, because that is like some OG strats right there. So just to give y'all a little context, I don't know if any of you all are familiar with Anakin, Tekken player, super good.
But you meant Star Wars.
Not that Anakin.
I was like, you were the chosen one.
You actually also killed children this one.
Oh, so the Tekken player Anakin is super good. Has been really good for a long time. And what in Tekken, because you characters have so many moves, an old school strat for a Tekken back in the day used to be that you would play against the computer on the highest difficulty to get familiar with these moves and animations, so that when you're playing a real person and they're doing these moves, you don't get caught off guard because you've seen them so many times and practice against how to step them, block, or whatever. So I tell people that too, man. You know, don't be ashamed to play the computer when you're learning. It's good practice. You can, you know, it's not going to be the same as fighting a real person, but that gives you the opportunity to practice your combos, practice movement, and other things like that. So don't feel like you absolutely have to have a real life person with you at all times to play these games. You can do it with the computer as well, especially with Tekken, with the Ghost system and all of that. That stuff is really good.
I want to
Okay,
chime
so
in
there-
here. Go ahead.
Yeah, no, there's just a word that I've heard several of you use several times now, and just for the sake of myself and all other beginners, I wanted to ask, and I hope I'm pronouncing this correctly. What is a friend?
What is a friend? Okay, so you could say in terms of this, a friend would be somebody who you
I'm joking,
communicate
man.
with. No, but but funny enough though, I do want to actually answer that question because
Yeah.
what that friend is, right? That is someone who you communicate with on the regular about the game. This may be someone who gives you tips. They could also be like an accountability buddy. They could be like, hey man, I ain't seen you get on in a minute. Like, you not playing no more? These are people who, because I mean, some of us have all been there before. We've had times where you don't feel like you're progressing like you should, and you start to fall back a little bit. And these people can help you to like, hey man, you want to play this or play that? And they get you back in.
Yeah, I think a big thing there is recognizing who can be. It's like general conversation. It's also like, think of it as a person. You got a homie, a friend that watches your favorite show every week. I know with my homies, every week when Jujutsu Kaisen wears, it's like, hey, did you see this? And then my brain be like, dang, I actually didn't watch it. Let me go log back in. So take it in that way. For like with fighting games, I had buddies when we play Ultimate. We had this thing like year one Ultimate. It was like, all right, we're gonna try to play at least like for an hour a day at 7 o'clock, and then we'll start talking about like the tournament stuff throughout the week and things you should try to implement, tech people we're finding. And it helps build a healthy relationship, not only with a training partner, a rival, but also you getting better at the game as well. And I think a lot of people underestimate finding those people to have those conversations with or do things with fighting games. I know it's hard. It can probably be intimidating going into Discord or meeting somebody at an event and trying to keep up with them in that way. But once you find those people, you'll be locked into the game in a lot of ways that you never thought you could be before.
Yeah, for me, I ran like a Smash club at my community college and met a bunch of other guys that we all ended up just hanging out with each other, and like it's been better most of like 8 years, and these are the same people I hang out with. Haven't made any like close friends like that. It's been the same college people that we just pull up, play Smash, call it a day. It's great.
Well, hopefully for anybody that is watching or may be in here that is a little bit newer to fighting games, so hopefully some of that advice helps you or helps you just improve in general. I do want to know, while we have a lot of games that may be friendly to new people, what games kind of, if you hop in there and you have never played before, whether it's just normal matches, it's competitive, they are not friendly to new players at all, whether that's the community itself or the game, and just kind of everyone's experience with that.
All right, so I got two takes. Hear me out. Tekken has put me through the ringer the past month, and it's literally because you have to like I'm not even gonna like I'm sitting there thinking, I'm like, okay, Tekken got all these tools, and I'm sitting there like, they know why they added this. They know people finna go through with these mechanics. So like getting people there, Tekken's way better than it's ever been. But if you're already stuck into like the traditional 2D, 2.5D like fighting games, Tekken, you gotta realize that it's a 2D fighting game that you gotta sidestep in, right? So like there's a whole extra layer that's just probably like like you could play Tekken ranked right now, and like even at a lower level, you probably get something like, why is he doing that? And he's like, yeah, I've been playing since Tekken 4, bro. You just didn't know how to get it. You got knowledge checked, right? And it's just like, that's fine. Which is, it comes with legacy games, and legacy games are games that build upon past iterations and installments. But I think another game I would probably tell you, Under Night, bro. I think that game is so amazing. But if you hop on Under Night rank day one, they gonna look like they think this Evo top 8. You in D rank, they playing for that 10K plus. Ranked is no joke in that game. Like, if you don't know what you're doing at an intermediate level, make sure you do that tutorial. Don't even play a match. Do the tutorial first, and then think about it if you're ready. But that's just how I feel. That game is insane. I love it, but I definitely would say if you don't know what you're doing, take it in baby steps. Because trying to go all in like you normally do with any other fighting game, you would be in so much frustration. But it comes with time and skill. You'll get used to it, you know.
I will say for anybody else that I saw like a Tekken combo. I was so confused. I was like, how do you press those buttons at the same time? That doesn't make any sense. And then I saw someone do it. I was like, nope, I'm not touching this game ever. I don't care, man. Y'all, I'll watch, but I'm not touching it because it just looks like I if you can play that game at a high level or just like above average, I respect you because the combos on some fighting games are wild.
Yep.
Seeing someone feel their first rolling death cradle is always hilarious. So
yeah.
it's a grab by king in Tekken where he starts by grabbing by the arm, and then he gets behind you, puts you in a sleeper hold or a chicken wing face lock, and then he rolls you around on the ground a lot, takes off a lot of health. It's a big deterrent for a lot of people. And in Tekken 8, King is really good, so there's a lot more King players. But again, it comes with asking questions, going into training, not getting discouraged, knowing that you're going to have those setbacks. As like Yaya said, I got on Under Night, first game, got online. I felt like I didn't know what I was doing. I have a lot of experience, and I said, you know what, I'm good. I'm good.
You're like, I'm done.
I'll go back to Street Fighter.
Yeah, see, that's the thing. I would go to Street Fighter too.
See, I appreciate, not to cut in here, I have to say this, but I appreciate heavy that, like, the big thing about Tekken that's hard for me, I'm a zoner player, right? So, like, usually I'm the annoying one. I'm picking the Hilda, I'm picking the Morgan and the Marvel. I like seeing you not being able to get in on me. Tekken ain't got that. So, like, if King get in, I'm finna just lose 50%. It's GG. Like, I don't even get mad no more. I just look at the screen like, all right, we're trying again. Like, cause I don't know how to break it yet, so that's the thing. I don't even get salty at it.
Or like the Zangief or Marissa in Street Fighter.
Oh man, yeah, Zangief, Marissa, Street Fighter, Lily.
Yeah.
So,
oh my god.
Oh man, yeah, Mono too. JP, if you never fought him. So something that I just wanted to say for like new people that is good too. Like with this is the best time to play any fighting game that you're interested in is when it's new, because everybody else, there are lots of other new people playing too who are learning just like you. And I think where a lot of new people messed up is they wait too long to jump into a game. And what I mean by waiting too long is they wait until a meta has been established, about a certain play style that's very dominant, or a particular character has been found out to be very effective that people flock to. So by you jumping in at that point, people already know how to play the game versus you who does not. That makes it very hard to learn the game versus when you're getting on there, you don't know what you're doing. They don't know what you're doing either. So you can use that to your advantage and you can learn with everyone else. So don't worry about your win records. Don't worry about losing. Just worry about improving and playing the game. You'll get better over time. It always happens. The more you play the game, the better you will get. So always keep that in mind whenever you're playing something new. Just it looks cool. Pick a character and dive in.
Yeah.
Figure out what works.
Sorry, go on.
Sorry, figure out what works for you and figure out what doesn't work for you. If your losses are stacking up, figure out why that's happening for you. Okay?
Right.
Like try to review back to yourself in a sense and then be like, okay, this isn't working. And if you have another friend or know somebody else who is experienced in this game, ask for help. Be like, hey, I don't understand what's going on. And that's what actually has helped me improve to be a better fighting game player. Not just for like Smash Brothers, but like Street Fighter or Dragon Ball Fighters or whatever. It's Marvel vs. Capcom. I was terrible at the game. And then I finally like watched a friend and they explained some things to me. Soul Calibur, another one. Like we're talking the vintage, like Soul Calibur 2 or 6 or whatever, just sorry, I just wanted to piggyback off of that.
I want to mention Soul Calibur as well because with the not only having really tough characters like Siegfried and Nightmare that are always laming you to death, you also have the ring out system where people can just mash buttons and shove you off the ring before you actually get to really do much with it.
Yeah. Learning the game mechanics are very important. Very important too. I think a lot of people try to skip that with these games because, they see all the cool combos and what other people who play the game are doing and they want to get in there and do that. And they skip over learning the subsystems and how the game actually works. So this goes back to, like we were saying initially, don't be afraid to jump in that training mode and do those tutorials. Don't have any shame in that. We all do it. Even the best players go through the tutorials. So don't feel like you're wasting your time by going through the tutorials. They actually do help.
And the combo trials.
Yes.
So I think when it comes to difficult games, I'm gonna have to bring it up. Melee doesn't have any combo tutorials. Doesn't really have like a system of teaching you, especially the advanced mechanics that were intended to be in the game. But I think the really cool thing about like the Melee community and all that is how, since the game is such like you gotta know someone to play the game, it kind of helps it where, since Nintendo doesn't really like help the Melee scene with tournaments and whatnot, a lot of stuff is grassroots, and with that like you meet a lot of people in the community that really just play this game. I've met people that are like, yeah, worked a 9 to 5, now I'm here. And I have a bunch of other people that travel around the world and then they still just come back and, play this game. So it's like, I definitely think even though Melee is such a difficult game to like get a grasp of and like get good at, there's so many tools nowadays, as well as people that want other people to play the game. Like we want people to play Melee, even though it's a very difficult game to, grasp. We'll do our best to at least keep you in the scene, keep you entertained, because the game is super sick, and I definitely think more people should at least watch it. Playing it's a little difficult, but at least watching it is just getting that viewership, that experience is like something unique that not a lot of fighting games have.
What I was gonna say is, if you're brand new to fighting games and you're like, "Oh, I want to play this game. This game came out like 8 years ago, so everyone's gonna be like super good at it and stuff." Um, on the flip side of people being brand new when a brand new game comes out, if you go to a game that's already existing and has a meta and things like that, you can also just visually learn. We're in 2024. You can watch YouTube videos. There's tutorials. There's Discords. There's things like that. You can ask questions and you can apply it and be like, "Oh, I like this character in this game, and I don't know how to do any of the combos." So you just YouTube something or watch something, be like, "Oh, I didn't know this goes here, this goes that. You could do this," and you build there, and then you can use that mentality. Go to any of the training modes or whatever it is you want to do. Play against a friend, and be like, "Hey, I learned this today watching this." So I just wanted to chime in and say that it's never too late to jump into whatever fighting game you want to get into.
I wanted to comment on the Melee thing. The Melee thing is interesting because I love Smash all around the board. Like if I had to be honest, I would say Smash, Mortal Kombat, and Marvel has raised me, right? And like in that way, what makes Melee so good now being in grassroots, the game has probably still to this day, still some of the best rollbacks. So you can find all players of intermediate levels, beginner players to play. The best thing about Melee nowadays than when I was watching a documentary back then, I was like, I can't play this at the moment, was now you have Uncle Punch. It's a mod that helps you practically understand or get used to some of the mechanics in the game, right? So I really do respect that. Like nowadays with fighting games, you have content creators, there's information out there that's digestible for everybody at every level at this point, for most fighting games. So I highly recommend you just, when in doubt, YouTube it out. If you can't do that, you might get down the rabbit hole of learning like dust loops or something, and then you get to learn in-depth stuff and things like that. It just comes with the time and how much patience can you go through to get to where you want to be in the respective fighting game of your choice.
Exactly. Well, I do think definitely just kind of just gauge what game you want to play, and like you said, you're able to watch videos on it. You're able to go in there, play some sort of tutorial. If you're just gonna kind of jump in, it is probably gonna end up happening that you just kind of get beat up on. You gotta keep in mind, like, you might go in there thinking like, oh, I'm gonna be the best ever, but remember, these people got hands. Okay, you're gonna get hit. It sucks. You just kind of have to deal with it. But going into that, competitive is a very big side of all these games, or at least for a majority of them. And as someone that doesn't play fighting games that much, and just kind of giving advice to anyone else in general, if you're trying to get into competitive fighting games, what advice would you offer, and what like initial steps should you take?
What I tell a lot of people all the time, my locals, monthlies, even like when I go to majors and stuff, this genre, fighting games, no matter who you are, like you could be the best, I don't know, like top 5 player of all time, you will always lose more than you win. Always. So if you really want to start achieving some kind of like competitiveness, or you want to just get into it and be like, hey, I want to compete, I want to be one of the best, you have to understand that you're going to lose a lot. So you have to learn how to lose. Some people get salty, some people get mad, some people get stubborn. It's never their fault. In team games, different story. Maybe a player didn't pick up their slack, things like that. But in fighting games, it doesn't matter what it is. I don't know. It doesn't matter what the excuse is. You pick the top tier, low tier. At the end of the day, you lost because it's your fault. And you have to learn to accept that. If you don't learn how to lose, you're never going to get better. There's always going to be an excuse behind the loss.
He's speaking facts right there. You can go ahead.
Going off of that, like learning how to lose, but also I always tell a bunch of people this, especially when it comes to melees. Sometimes it's good to not play the game. I see a lot of people dumping hours into games, trying to implement this into their gameplay. But at the end of the day, it's like you could grind all this, but if you're just trying to, like monkey wrench the entire thing, you're gonna keep forgetting your fundamentals, keep forgetting, like what makes whatever character you're playing good. And so I always tell people, take a step back, take breaks from the games. I've gone months on end not playing Melee, just like watching Melee, consuming content, coming back, and then placing really well at a local, just because all of my bad habits have gone away and all of these new fresh ideas are now in my head. So it's like I'm not worried about like, oh, I should be implementing this. It's like, oh, I'm now playing the game, I'm enjoying the game again. A lot of it's like you lose interest because you're grinding it all the time, so you get that refreshingness of, oh, I'm playing my favorite game again, as well as like, wow, I'm all these ideas that I've learned are now working.
So I want to piggyback off of what Base was saying about essentially making peace with losing. So there was a time, I want to say probably this was probably right around before Super Smash Brothers Brawl came out, and there was a time where me and my friends used to go to gatherings of other people for games and essentially recruit people. Like, hey man, you want to learn how to play these games? We play these games. You can play with us. And I spent a lot of time trying to like help teach people how to play whatever game it was that they were trying to play. And something I would tell people all the time too is like, first thing you got to do is you need to get used to losing, because playing against people who are better than you, you are going to do that. I mean, it's like there's no way around it, but you don't need to be ashamed of that, because I think something that a lot of newer people don't realize, or people from the outside looking in don't realize, that people who are really good at these games, Like they said, they've lost more than they've won. Like the amount of losses you will have to take sometimes to improve is a crazy amount. Like you can't even conceive the amount. But that's not the point. The point is that let's say you lost 5 games in a row to this one person, but this time you lost 4. That's improvement. You need to stick with it. But the thing about the losing again, you have to get your mind set to where it doesn't bother you, because you have a lot of people who try to jump into these games and they don't stick around very long because they're losing. And because they're losing, they think they're not good or they're not improving like they want to, so they quit. And it's like, no, this is part of the process. Just shake it off, get back in there. This is again why it's important to have a group or someone else that you play with, because they will encourage you to not quit as well if they're a good friend.
And one thing I like to say, and this might be cringe and corny, but I usually go like, we don't take L's, we take lessons. Because when especially like, I give y'all a quick little story. So Tekken 8's out, and like all my friends, I'm like, yeah, I'm cooking. I'm like, I feel good because I'm like, all right, I'm learning. I'm playing Azucena, right? And I'm like, I'm just cheesing. I know what I'm doing. So then a new homie joins the Discord that's been playing Tekken since Tekken 5, right? And legitimately, he comes in the Discord. He plays Reina. She's a new character. She's really strong. Now, mind you, I had this thing where like if I don't understand something, I would get like slightly little tilted, like real rap. I'd just be like, bro, what is he doing? Like, why I keep getting hit by this? And like 30 minutes go by, and like I'm like, oh my god, I'm getting like actually frustrated. Like I have my camera on too, but I'm like trying to figure it out. And I just remember myself, I was like, I'm not taking in my quota, right? We don't take L's, we take lessons. And I started looking at the gameplay like after the first hour, and I was just like, all right, I see it. And then I started bringing it back, because that's another thing a lot of people don't talk about, is keeping your temper while playing the game. Like it ain't that serious, like we finna break a monitor or something like that. But you're like, why you keep hitting me with that? Why you keep doing that? Right? And it all comes down to a mentality thing, right? Your mentality when playing fighting games, at least from what I know from pros. I know one of my close friends is Shin Kinsuo. He has placed top 4. Yeah, he's placed top 4 at Guilty Gear back in the day. He's done really well at Street Fighter 6 as well recently, and like he has lost a lot. So when he brings up when Base brings up the concept of like, hey, you might be getting cooked, he's taking that and learning to adapt from those mistakes, and that's what makes you a better player in the long run. Even not even on just a pro level, just fundamentally wanting to grow in games. Heck, life too. So that's my tip.
If you've never entered a tournament and you're looking at your first, it can be pretty daunting. And a lot of times people will say, well, I'm not ready yet, I need to keep training. Just enter a tournament. If it's at a local, if it's an online tournament. My first tournament was a major. Like my first taste of competition was at Combo Breaker. And yeah, there were nerves, a lot of
What
nerves.
game?
But Tekken and Street Fighter 5.
Oh yeah.
I went 1 and 2 in both games.
You didn't go into
But
it. That's great.
But yeah, you might get matched up with someone that's as skilled or less skilled than you, or you might go against a pro. That's the breaks. Anytime you enter a tournament.
Yeah.
I've entered Capcom Pro Tour events where I had smooth sailing until I had to go against Mena, and that's a huge difference from the other people that I went against that I've never seen before. So
in other words, tournaments don't have skill-based matchmaking.
Well, I mean, yeah, I'm not gonna touch that one.
I mean,
somebody say it, please.
It's just, but
some do.
That's what makes fighting games great, right? Like, there's no like there's no age gap or anything like that. You don't have to have experience to get in. Like you could just play. All fighting game 99% of the time when you go to like a tournament, it's open bracket. Unless you go like an LCQ or like a World Cup type thing, like all right, well I didn't qualify in. But 99% of the time you want to play in a tournament, whether it's an offline or an online tournament, it's open bracket. You could buy the game 10 minutes from now and be like, I just bought the game, I'll enter the bracket, because you just can. And the cool thing about the FGC is that you could just play, and it's supposed to be fun. It's a video game at the end of the day. I feel like both the casual and competitive scene overcomplicates such simple things. You could enter whatever bracket you want. You don't have to have years of experience to be like, oh, I entered my first tournament, or I'm not ready. No, just like if you want to enter a tournament, you can just do it right now.
Right. It's all part of the process, man. Like the you look, it's a good idea to look at tournaments as practice. Like that's how all of the things that you've learned, that's where you put it to the test. And then you don't get, everybody gets a little upset sometimes about losing, but you don't let that bother you too much. What you do after is you look at, okay, what did I lose to? What used to happen all the time, because most tournaments are double elimination. You got winner side, loser side. What people used to do all the time in old tournaments, you would lose to someone and then you would immediately go in training mode. Especially if they were a really popular character, you're like, okay, I know I'm gonna have to fight this character again. Let me go in training mode real quick. You come with me, help me, show me, like, I need you to do this move, that move, and then you practice it. So that helps you get better playing in those tournaments. So, never feel like, oh man, I got to be just so good to enter. No, you don't. Just play.
And you're always going to learn from each matchup too. Like I mentioned earlier, your experiences, like you mentioned, Posh. If it's a character you're constantly losing to, you have a friend or someone, they play that character over and over, so you can get that experience for yourself. I have a friend who plays low tier characters in Smash Brothers, who's considered a low tier, and he's insane with it. He's winning between me and him, he's winning 90-10 most of the time. And it's, that's math, but he's really good, and I learned from him. I learned from all my friends. It's like I said, it's a great game. So you don't have to have an experience for any of these tournaments. You can literally always pick up something, I find, no matter what, in any fighting game, match, tournament, whatever setting, I find.
I also wanted to say that while it is open bracket and that you shouldn't be discouraged for losing, for people that are beginners at competitive, or be like, hey, like I want to compete and stuff. A lot of people over the 10 years of me traveling are always like intimidated. They're just like, oh, like why would I go to Evo and Combo Breaker and things like that when I'm just gonna lose to the best players? And I'm just like, that's the wrong mentality. You should always support your game. Number one, that's how you keep it alive. Number two, you have to understand that the FGC, like the important part is the C part. It's community. Like all these people that are showing up to all these tournaments have the same thing in common. They all like the same fighting games or genre that you do. That means you have a higher chance of getting to know people that like the stuff that you like. So for people that go to tournaments and stuff, it's just like, bro, like winning shouldn't be the number one like final goal. Because if that's the case, nobody would ever go to tournaments. Because Evo last year, we had 9,000, 10,000 people total. We'll say, right?
Right.
We'll say. And, let's exclude the side tournaments. Let's say the main games were 5, 6 of them, maybe 9 max. 10,000 people go to a tournament and you technically only have 9 winners.
1 per game. Yep.
So that means even second place is a loser. That means everyone else lost. You all have that in common. It's something that you shouldn't just be like, well, I'm not gonna go to this tournament if I'm not gonna get first place, whatever. Have fun. Like it's like going to a convention, but for video games.
Yeah. Just to add on to that, like it's funny because Street Fighter, if I'm not mistaken, Street Fighter 6, this was the first year Street Fighter was going to be there, Street Fighter 6. And it had 6,500 people. Now, mind you, like, quick other little story. I don't really compete like that. I'm more like deep into like getting people that are interested into the games. I've just recently got into it because of that game again. And it's literally because I had an experience where it was the first time in my life I actually went to a Smash. And again, I was like, dang, I'm really trash for real. I don't think I should do this no more. So for like a whole year, I was like playing other games and seeing like, you know, one, because I was also falling out of Smash for a moment. And then I went to Evo, and a lot of my friends were like, yo, go to Evo, you know, just to have the fun time to hang out with people. But I was like, man, I'm not finna pay all this money to get cooked and then be looking stupid when I lose. And then I came to realization, I was like, hey, man, I think I just want to have fun for the people, right? And I got my Chipotle card, so I did pretty well. So like I was very like it's a mental thing. Like it's a wrong mind. Like how he said, I had that mindset for a minute, right? Like this defeatist mentality, and that's not gonna take you anywhere with fighting games, especially when you're a community oriented game that brings people together. I also think like just come out to an event, even go to a local, and you will probably learn a lot. Essentially, if not from the game itself, from the people around you.
Oh man, tournaments are like the level up day for real. I can't tell you how many times I have gone to a tournament for a game and I felt better leaving than I did when I started. And these could have been a single day tournament where whatever the tournament result was, what it was, but then being in that space with all those other people from different places, playing all those people is always a good experience because you get exposed to different play styles. There might be some characters you've never fought before, or somebody might be there playing your character, playing them a totally different way from you that you learn from them. And so it's like, I've gone to tournaments and created new friends. I've gone to tournaments and it's made me want to pick up another character because I saw something there being done with a character that I was originally interested in that I didn't know was possible. So it's always a learning experience when you go to these tournaments. And that you can also, again, for you that might come from places where you're like, well, man, I don't really have a scene like that. Because I know you hear a lot of people that talk about that nowadays where, you know, because of the internet, you can find people. But if you have any tournaments or events that are in your area, or even if it's not, if you just want to go to Evo,
tournaments in your area,
go do it. Because you will more than likely, you might even meet someone from the same place that you're from, had no idea that they play the same game you play. That's happened plenty of times. I've gone to tournaments, run into somebody, and I'm like, man, you from Memphis? Well, I've never even seen you before. What? How long you been playing? And next thing you know, you guys are playing every weekend now.
It literally happens all the time.
All the time.
A couple of notes on tournaments. The winner might have kicked all your butts in a video game, but you outnumber him in the real world. And or her. But also, darn it, I had another one for this. Oh, yes. If you feel better leaving than when you came in, you might be an introvert.
The only tournaments I've actually been in are the ones that I just play with my friends while I'm streaming, and I actually help have where they join me in a game, and whoever wins a free game code type of thing. And in all of them, I always wind up being the one who loses a lot. I think if I beat like one person, if I'm lucky, but I just take it in small victories. Like, okay, I was able to counter this move. I made sure you didn't get a perfect. Just go for small victories, at least that will help build me up for the next battle.
Small victories are important.
Oh yes.
You definitely want to give yourself realistic goals. So that's actually like super, super sound advice.
And I do think that one thing that is just very important in general, whether it's in fighting games or just general life, is sometimes you got to make sure you take a break, which is actually what we're going to do right now. So we're going to take a 5-minute break, let everybody go grab some food, water, etc., use the bathroom, rest a little bit. We're going to come back to the conversation, talk a little bit about the community and some more aspects about competitive, but we will be back. We are going to run a short ad just so no one that's coming in will get any pre-rolls for the rest of the stream. So for those of you that are not subbed, you may see an ad. If you have an ad blocker, you won't see ads, but we will be back in give or take 3 to 5 minutes.
Sub now.
Hello, hello, everyone. Welcome back. We are back from our short little break. Hopefully, you got some good snacks. I personally got an apple and then some fortune cookies from downstairs. So we'll see what they say. But we are back with all of our amazing creators. Exclamation cast, by the way, to find all their links to go check out their socials where they stream, and you can go and find other things like their Instagrams, Twitters, etc. to go check out what other content they do. But let's hop back into our topics. I know we were previously talking a lot about, for example, like the community at Evo and events like that. So I kind of want to know, in your personal opinion, how does the fighting game community contribute to the success of a game, and what role do you think the community plays in maintaining the longevity of a title besides obviously just playing it?
Being able to have people in the community that are willing to put in the time and effort to make content, both with showing like whether it be like highlights of a tournament or like cool combos or even just like tutorials about certain things, but definitely just like having a grassroots back end for a community, and then just people making content, whether it be like popular, not popular. If there's content out there for a game that people like, people will watch it. So I think just having a bunch of content really does help.
Yeah,
Like,
those.
just fighting, it's also like artwork or clips or um shipping. I think sometimes they do shipping. So like things that will bring more attention to the game is actually what will actually make it last longer, even if it isn't just a playing, just like learning more about the characters.
I mean, the sheer number of people who were into that muscle mommy from Street Fighter 6.
Marisa.
Marisa. Yep.
Definitely brought a few people into the fold, so to speak, into the fandom at least.
So this is actually a question that I was really waiting on because I wanted to really touch on this. I think one of the biggest things now for like the longevity of a game is the word of mouth, the positive word of mouth. When you got a lot of people who are speaking positively about the game, that makes more people want to play the game. And an example I want to use is DNF Duel. If any of you all remember that game. So, the game was cool, man. Great graphics, good music, cool characters, fun to play, was not too hard. Now, in terms of balance, the game was pretty crazy, but the community killed that game because so many people were calling it a baby game. It's not a serious game. Kusoge, if any of you know what that is, Kusoge is a term that they use for like trash games in Japan. So you had a lot of people calling it Kusoge. So people were writing it off saying like this is a game to not take seriously. So people who may just not be fighting game players, but want to play this game because they may have played the DNF, with a dungeon fighter game that the fighting game was based off of. They didn't get into it because they see what fighting game players are saying. They're saying it's not good, so they don't bother it. And so I think people really have to be mindful in what they say when it comes to games, especially when you're someone with influence who has lots of viewers, because people are going to be looking to you for your opinions on these games, and then they're going to base their opinion off of what you say. And if that's a negative opinion, you see what happens. People tend to take your word for it and run with it a lot of the time. So what the people say about the game can greatly affect the player base or potential player base.
One game I know from my own experience with the community, the Killer Instinct community really supported their game. That community got me interested in watching. Like, I played it when it came out, and then I kind of quit playing it because I stopped playing it on my Xbox and all that stuff. But after I started competing, that community really stepped up and repped their game constantly, whether it was offline events or online tournaments. there was a few streamers that I had watched that started running their own tournaments. I was like, man, this is really popping. Like, I haven't really seen much Killer Instinct lately, but it had a bit of a resurgence. And communities can save games. They just need to not give up on it.
While I do agree that Killer Instinct did do a lot for their community, me being part of that community, I will say that they also supported at the wrong time. Like Killer Instinct came out in 2013. It's always been free to play. Always had rollback. Like we always had that. It was great. It's still free to play. You want to play it? You can play it right now. The thing that really hurt it as a franchise is the fact that it just disappeared, right? From KI2 to KI3. There was what, like a 15-20 year gap. And then currently, if you are not part of the fighting game community, you probably don't even know that this current Killer Instinct exists.
Yep.
And there's no marketing. There's nothing like that. It's not their fault. If people don't follow Killer Instinct closely, Killer Instinct was originally an Xbox Live Arcade game, and that division doesn't even exist at Microsoft anymore. So that hurt it. The other thing that hurt KI in the long run is while the new games are coming out, like Street Fighter 5, I believe, I think MKXL was still about, maybe MK11, was people stopped showing up offline. And you can support online all you want, but if you want to gauge interest, there's two big things you got to do. One is you got to appeal to casuals. For KI, it's different because it was an indie game mostly, but let's say like a super big title like Tekken, Street Fighter, things like that. Your casuals, the casual market that buys the game, they're going to sell the game for you. Like there's a stronger chance of your game getting a sequel, DLC, collaborations, things like that. I know a lot of people talk about like, oh, I hate guest characters, things like that, and I'm just like, bro,
yeah, crazy.
Guest characters at the end of the day help sell your game.
Look at Tekken 7, prime example.
And
look at Smash.
Smash, things like that.
Look at 2B just came out in Grand Blue. People eating it up.
Yep, you'll have people who never played certain games or any game, and but they're a diehard. Like perfect example, Soul Calibur 2. I remember I was in high school. I was at Best Buy. I was chilling. I saw a Link on the cover. I didn't even think about it.
Absolutely.
Link was on the cover. Bought the game. Guest character. Guest characters keep selling your game.
Predator being an MKX, that was all I needed to see. Like, you know, it was. I played so much of that game, and I know, even though that game was really fun, I know I would not have played it as much if Predator was not in there.
Yeah, 100%. Ghost characters are something that appeals to certain fan bases, even the casual market. But also, your game has to like sell to be a commercial success. A lot of people forever now are like, "Oh, when's KI2? When's KI2?" And I'm just like,
"Yeah,
the game's old. It's not that popular anymore." And unfortunately, Xbox is all what Halo. I don't even know if they still do Gears or not. But Microsoft always in the past has shown things like that. But then when you look at commercial successes, Mortal Kombat, for example, sure, MK1's a little iffy right now, but if you look at the numbers, if you look at everything MK's ever done, it's pop culture, right? Oh, I love MK because I love the movies. I love, I love the song. I love this. Or they put Jason in it. They put Freddy Krueger in it. They put Alien in it. They put the Turtles in Injustice 2, just whichever one. That appeals to the casual market. That's why Smash is gigantic.
Oh, yeah.
Smash is gigantic because of that. Because you have basically every favorite character ever. Period.
And this isn't a fighting game, but just to piggyback off what you're saying, just to give another good example, Fortnite.
Yep.
Every kind of character from like everything is like Fortnite, and people play it because of that. And I'm gonna tell you another thing too. Like I started playing Fortnite because they put Predator in the game. When I found out that Predator was going to be in the game, I was like, okay, now it's time now. And now they got Dragon Ball, Naruto.
They have me in a chokehold.
Everything.
They have me in a chokehold right now because they're putting Avatar in Fortnite, and like I'm my big thing is core. All right, so like right now, Like I am struggling because I'm like, I want to play Tekken, I want to finish Rebirth, but I gotta get this Korra because if I turn on Fortnite past this month and I don't get her, I'm gonna be mad every time I see it, and I'm gonna just
Yeah.
get salty. Right? They got me in the ecosystem. So yes, that is facts. These guest characters. I know we
Yeah.
hated Akuma in Tekken 7 because he was in Geese, but listen, they help.
Yeah, the guest characters are great. They're great. I love it because these are things that when we were kids, we used to joke about in online forums. Like, "Hey man, did you know you could unlock Akuma in Street Fight in Mortal Kombat?" And you're like, "What are you talking about? Total lies." But now these things are real, man. Negan and Tekken, like, come on.
Yeah. I wish
Well,
Sora.
okay.
I wish Sora was in Smash, and boom, right? It's a real.
Yeah,
Right.
that's crazy. We hadn't
All
seen
the fighting
Sora in a
too
game
had-
so long.
I
People
think it was either Fairy
sometimes
or Fighting
sorry.
2 had Cherry Bogard as a alternate as a secret character, or was it the
Yeah.
reverse? I think that was
You
the
took
first time I ever saw a crossover character.
Right. And
well, seeing
guest characters are good for other games too.
I was
Because
about-
yeah.
I
Because
was
if
about
you
to
don't
say-
know where that character's from, you're gonna be like, what is that character? Because what is it? I know you Smash people know, like they were calling Terry Buff Pokemon Trainer. People are
yeah.
like, what game is that guy from? And they want to go and play that game now.
It's Ken
I
with a hat.
genuinely considered buying Soul Calibur just for Geralt of Rivia, and I, as mentioned before, don't really play fighting games.
Oh yeah. Yeah, that was another one.
The
They had
crossovers
him and
are,
2B.
frankly, just a brilliant thing. I know some people talk down about IP crossovers, like, oh, it's crash commercialism. But yes, it's crash commercialism, but it's also what we've been dreaming about ever since we were little kids, mishmashing all of our favorite universes and characters together, making them fight or work together or what have you. It's, it's a dream come true for a lot of us.
Oh yeah.
But at the end of the day, you have to appeal to the casual market because unfortunately the FGC is so small in comparison to like all the other gaming things like FPS and stuff like that. Casual market like carries the FGC.
So unrelated,
Yeah.
really good content idea. Okay, hear me out. New Mr. Beast video. Last to leave the king chokehold wins. Easy peasy. Because you either be stuck there forever or it's gonna last like 2 seconds.
You shouldn't have said that. I got some friends that been playing King forever, so we'll see who wins.
Right.
Yeah.
If you see it on the timeline, just let you know. Shout out to him, because just let you know. That sounds like a fun idea.
I think this will be our like last question unless anyone else has anything, and then we'll go into our final section. But let's talk about like the developer side. So like some people said, developers can be super in-depth and listening to their community, and it's really good. Sometimes it's not as good. So just from like your perspective as a player, how important is developer responsiveness to the community feedback and just overall shaping the success of the fighting game that you're participating in?
Very.
Very.
Very important.
Extremely
Very
important.
important.
Extremely important.
It can make or break a game, to be honest.
Yeah, actually.
If a game has problems and they go too long without being addressed or even acknowledged, people start to pull out of their game.
Yeah.
And don't come back.
Yeah,
you could just play something else. As simple as
Yeah.
that.
Exactly. Especially now, fighting games, there's too many right now for one game to be very just radio silent. You have to keep people informed, otherwise they're gonna jump over here.
Mm-hmm.
I
I think another thing that's very important about that is we used DNF earlier, so let's keep it with DNF at least.
Yeah.
So big thing I had a problem with DNF was that from the developer side of things, the community manager side of things, it was pretty non-existent besides like Arc Live, and that's nothing really on them because there's a whole bunch of in between that stop them from communicating both ways. But DNF, for example, the game came out and we didn't get our first DLC character for 6 months later.
Yeah.
And that's kind of like that's horrible for a fighting game.
The
right?
devs actually said that they forgot about the
Yeah,
game,
they
which
said
is
they
why
forgot
we.
about the.
which
How do you
is
forget
yeah,
you made a game?
yeah, they said in an article or something because people were like, "Where's our DLC? It's been so long. We haven't heard anything about this game." And there's a battle pass that we've already bought, and only one character has come out. Like, what's going on? And then folks were saying they admittedly had forgotten about the game because of something else that was going on. And it's like, are
Yeah.
you kidding me, man?
Yeah, and then it was frustrating with DNF because the first character was one of the biggest characters from DFO Dungeon Fighter. It was Spectre, but the problem is that every time they showed any updates, they showed the same trailer. Like it was like 13 to 15 seconds every 2 months, every other month they showed it. So now you're just annoying the player base. It's like I don't even care anymore. You know, like with
Yeah.
game delays naturally, how some people get, they be like, man, y'all keep delaying this game. You know, like Black Myth Wukong, if you know what that is. Everybody like, man,
Yep.
why y'all keep delaying that, bro? I don't even want to play it no more. That happens with fighting games even faster. Like,
Yeah.
and that's just how it is.
I think the fighting game devs definitely have to be. They need to firstly be transparent about what's going on with their game. If there's going to be a period where there's no content, no real news, there needs to be an explanation why that is. I think what is good, a good example would be like if you look at like Tekken Talk with what they had with the devs for that game. They talked for like over an hour talking about the game. We even got some footage of Eddie, who's the next DLC character. So those are really good for a game, and then I think just being transparent and being tapped in to the community and like what's happening with the game.
For me, Street Fighter 5 is a prime example. Came out in 2016 and it was very bare bones. They had ranked, casuals, lobbies, and then they had single character stories, and then they're like, later on we'll add the story mode. And then they also implemented a fight money system.
Yeah.
And they're like, oh, okay, yeah, you can get the characters for free if you just get enough fight money. And then you would get a lot for beating the story mode that you would get as DLC later for free. But then after that, they're like, oh, too many people are getting characters for free. So they nerfed how much fight money you could get. And they didn't communicate very well for like
What,
the
like 3
first,
years? Something
yeah,
like
like 3-4 years.
Yeah.
The last season of Street Fighter 5 was great. The game,
Fire.
a lot of problems with the game's balance was fixed. They had things like the Tekken Talks where they would talk about things that are coming up. And then when they did have DLC characters, like with Rose, they showed, oh, this is how we did the motion capture for this character. There's just a steady stream of communication that last year, Street Fighter 5. But overall, the game's not looked upon very fondly because of those first few years. So
Yeah,
it
wasn't
is
that the one they straight up apologized for?
Yeah, definitely. But to touch on that, that's why Street Fighter 6 is such an incredible turnaround.
Man, it is great.
It is. There's
I
so many
love it.
things. There's so many things that it just hits on everything: casual, competitive, whatever. First things first. It's 2024. Any future fighting game from now on, if you don't have good netcode, just don't make it.
Yeah, done. Don't even bother.
Don't make it. How else are we gonna play it? How else are we gonna play? We play other games. You play shooters and all this other stuff, and you could play all that online flawlessly. You can't play
Right.
one-on-one. You gotta
Right.
change that. And Street Fighter 5, yes, it was the launch was horrific for everyone. Casual market, competitive. Street Fighter 6 is just like, okay, here's rollback netcode. You could play basically flawlessly with everyone. You have Wi-Fi and all this other stuff, indicators. You don't want to play any of that? Cool. Here's story mode. This weird like 2K thing going on that you could just play. And there's like a million callbacks to all these other old Street Fighter games. So if you're not a competitive person and you're a casual and you just love Street Fighter, perfect, right? I love Final Fight, this and that. It's all in there. And then you have damn, I was gonna say one more thing, I forgot.
They got Battle Hub.
Yes.
Someone in the chat brought up crossplay.
Yes. So, that's the other thing too. Crossplay. Crossplay actually goes back to the other question. You want to keep your game alive. There's no point to compete Like it's not 2000. It's not the 90s anymore. Sega Genesis
Right.
and all that stuff. Bro, you want to keep your game alive? Cross-platform.
Yeah, especially with fighting games are like a very niche genre already. So you're making it even harder when this game only people who playing on this console can play people in this game. Like you need to stretch that. It needs to be on all available platforms if you can. The more people playing, the better.
I was gonna say yes, the cross-platform thing for sure is huge, and then I wanted to applaud Capcom for Battle Hub. It's super cool that it recreates you being at a major or a local or just an arcade. You go to a real one, and it basically feels the same way.
Yeah,
so it's really good, super good.
Has there ever been a time where a developer has like, I don't know how to like over listened? Like their community kept like giving input, and they were just like, bet let's change this, let's add this, let's try to do this to that, and appealed way too much.
Several MMO shooters.
Smash Ultimate.
I was gonna look. Look in that order. I was gonna say Mortal Kombat, Smash Ultimate, and Multiverses. That's what I was gonna say.
Yeah.
Yeah. A lot of the times, like with that, like for example, Multiverses. I was in the top 100 Aria players in that game, and it was frustrating that every other patch, it seemed like it was dictated by Twitter, right? And that could be a good and a bad thing, but at the same time, it's like they're nerfing the characters, they're buffing the characters, they don't know what to do with the characters. Like they'll come out and say things like that. Yeah, and it felt like it was a conflicting interest of like what the devs want and what's good and healthy for the game. And I think that's something that is very scared to do with this age with fighting games, especially with social media being more prevalent with them, because one person, a huge impression can change the view of a game. Like that's a big thing that can happen. And I think, like, for example, another good example that took some time for them to get there, I gotta applaud Arxis here. One thing I love about Arxis is that they'll drop a character reveal, and at the end of the reveal, they'll tell you, all right, here comes the next Daredevil with the date. And then in between the periods of people playing the game, they have this thing where it's a developer backyard, what they're working on, what they're aiming to do, what people are talking about in the community. It's like a little like newsletter every month or every other month to talk about where the game is going with this direction. Even after characters, they might drop a double. Like I really do appreciate Guilty Gear Strive in the communication front. That Arxis, in my personal opinion, have done stronger strides at getting better at making the game more friendly to newcomers, to players, but also communicating the ideas to the audience and see if we like them before they truly, implement them. So it's it's a back and forth there.
Yeah, if you want to talk about devs that have listened too much, rather we could I think what has been happening with NRS games is a prime example. You look at Mortal Kombat X, and it was a super fun game, but it was a very oppressive game. What I mean by that, it was very offense heavy, and if you're somebody who was more, you enjoy more of like a slower base like type of play style, that didn't work for you. So you had a lot of people, like it was very mix up heavy, all of that. So Mortal Kombat 11 was basically like them trying to solve all of these issues for Mortal Kombat X. So the game was slower. There was not run, because you could run in Mortal Kombat X. They took that away. Now you're back to like dashes, and they changed the way that the wake up system worked, because people were complaining about mix ups on wake up and all of these sorts of things. And so what ended up happening with MK11 is that, everybody bought it when it first came out because it's Mortal Kombat. But once people really started to get into the game, they were like, man, this game is not that fun, because so much of what was fun in the previous game has been completely taken away and replaced with new systems that seem like they were made for people that didn't like Mortal Kombat X. And that same thing has applied with MK1 now, because people were talking about how boring Mortal Kombat 11 was later. So how do we spice that up? Now we got a character. This is a tag game. Well, not a tag game, but a game with assists now and all of this stuff. And look at what you could do with these new mechanics and everything like that. And so, you know, and it all just, I think that, you know, devs need to look at what works, what's good, and just build on it. That's what Tekken has done for forever. And it's great. You could even say Smash Brothers has done that too. They built in a way in the last few games from a base that they had. But for whatever reason, with Mortal Kombat, they keep trying to reinvent the wheel by listening to the loud minority. These are people that just bought the game probably to play through story mode, and they jump online because it's a feature. They lose really badly, and then they run to Twitter. And because NRS is a Western developer, they're more tapped into social media, so they're seeing all of the feedback, and they think, okay, well, we gotta fix this. And then the next game comes out and is
That makes me thankful that Capcom does not balance Street Fighter that often. I mean, I wish they would do 2 patches a year, but week 1, Twitter was full of people complaining 5 Metal Manone needs to get nerfed, and now that we're months into the game, she's considered bottom tier, and I'm like, thankfully I didn't get listened to.
I think it could be good and healthy depending on who you ask for the patches thing, but NRS right now, in the case of the manner is, I don't definitely think it's an NRS issue. That's a WB issue, where like why Mortal Kombat is in the state it's in right now. Because let's see, from like I personally feel like from MK9 to MKX, like NRS was in a bag, and then we come after that, and it's like, yeah, they made this some successful game for the casuals, but then the gameplay was whack in 11, and then now we got like, well, arguably in my personal opinion, I'll speak for me, the gameplay's amazing, everything else sucks.
Yeah.
You know? And like, and like that's a horrible feeling.
MK1 is way more fun than 11. But it ain't touching X, but it's way more fun than 11. It's more fun than Injustice 2. But outside of that, like, I think about MK1 as like a game that's perfect for like if you're gonna have friends physically come over, because you can't do it online because you ain't got no crossplay and all that. If you're gonna have your friends come over and y'all are gonna play Mortal Kombat together, it's great for that. But anything other than that, it's like,
I feel
kind of, yeah.
I do know of a case. Oh.
No, you first. Go ahead.
Yeah, I know of a case like where the devs actually took too much feedback about I think it was King of Fighters 11, and when they finally released King of Fighters for Xbox 360, they came out with King of Fighters 12, which is like the worst in the series.
Oh, yeah.
Smallest roster. They had pretty graphics, although they made them look so freaking ugly, especially like a muscle built Ralph. Like, what the heck? Who is this guy? Like, I couldn't understand what the heck am I playing as? I'm like, no, you messed up my coolest dude. Come on. And so they actually took a lot of user feedback, and then they got much better when they released King of Fighters 13. But that's the only King of Fighters I actually took back to GameStop. That's how much I hated it.
But we have someone. Oh, I'm sorry. Go ahead.
And they also have a case where they had their older games, like the King of Fighters 2002 Unlimited match and the older compilation games. They actually finally listened to their community years after the games came out to actually add rollback netcode to each of those, so they could actually play them halfway decently. So that's actually a good thing for them.
Someone in the chat asked, "What is crossplay?" Raven is raw answered that, but just for if you don't see that, so with crossplay, what we're talking about is being able to play a game cross-platform, 2 different platforms. Meaning, if I'm playing on Xbox and you're playing on PlayStation, we can play against each other. Or if you're playing on PC and I'm playing on PlayStation, we can play each other.
It just makes it accessible so that more people are able to play together, and just makes it overall a more tight-knit community, just because it's not limited to only Xbox or only PlayStation or only Switch. It lets anyone get involved. But with that being said, that is kind of all of our topics. What we're going to do now, just kind of to ease out for the rest of the night, we are going to do a little tier list. So what I'm going to do, there's like, I want to say like 45 games in here. We're not going to do all 45. That's impossible. But I'm just going to let everybody pick like 2 games, and what is all as a group try to rank them, see if we can all agree on ranking for these specific spots.
I mean, I'll sit this one out just because I am not the person to be talking about this.
But I'm going to get this pulled up and then pop it up on the screen as well.
I know VTubers are contractually obligated to talk out of their ass, but I try not to.
Let's see. Base, I'll start with you. What game from here do you want us to pop on this tier list?
Likely to play, absolutely will play. Let me see. I'm looking.
Oh my gosh.
There's a lot on here.
Says
A lot of
here,
good ones.
likely to play, I am a sucker for Super Turbo every time.
Good one.
I know I saw it earlier. Where'd it go?
The second row.
Second.
In the middle. Go back. Yep.
Wait. Oh, right here. Street Fighter.
Especially because they usually play on cabs, yeah. It's just fun. I'll get my ass kicked, that's fun.
What about everybody else? Putting that likely to play, absolutely will play. There's a side event.
I love Turbo. I buy every collection because Turbo's on it.
Yep.
I'm not gonna lie. I that game when Capcom dropped that collection, I would wake like if I was on a weekend and they had nothing to do, I'd wake up at 2 in the morning like, hey bro, I know you on right now. Like that one player, and we would just run it out.
These games I've already played.
Yeah.
What got me in the genre?
Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. Absolutely will play. That's got to be up there. That's got to be up there.
Capcom versus SNK 2. Definitely, absolutely will play.
Yep, that's another one.
Wait, there's Third Strike.
Yeah, my second game is easily, absolutely will play is Cross Tekken. I love that.
Oh,
I agree.
Bro, that game's gas.
We got a hot take. Actually, no, that game is really fun.
Everyone
that game was
hated it
really
back
fun.
No,
Man, what killed the game was the DLC stuff.
And
Yeah,
the
they
gems.
fixed it at the end.
Yeah. It was kind of ugly too, but it was fun to play.
It was ugly. It was Street Fighter 4.
Which was ugly. I'm sorry, man. Go back and look at Street Fighter 4 now.
I just looked at Street Fighter 4 before I came in. Yeah, Street Fighter 4 gas.
I'm really bad with look. Where's Cross Tekken at?
Okay,
bottom right
I will Google
second to
Street
last
Fighter
row.
4.
Second last button.
But as
To the
a
left of Street
To the
Fighter
left?
5, true.
And then go down one.
final fight shield, it gave me Poison
This one?
and Hugo,
Yep.
so I support that.
It's using a sort of combination anime / Borderlands aesthetic. I don't hate it, truth be told. I can see why some people would think it's kind of ugly, but at the same time, it works for me. It's I mean,
At the
it's definitely older
time, it was
generation
good.
graphics.
Yeah, at the time it was good.
That's
I
great
still
for
thought it
them.
was kind of ugly because I don't like how they look like action figures. Because I prefer the more 2D looking Street Fighters, which is third, especially coming from Street Fighter 3 Third Strike. The game looks amazing still to this day.
Yeah, I don't think it looks ugly as such, but yeah, I'm ambivalent.
You got Caveman Ryu, He-Man Ken.
Timur, what about you?
Samurai Showdown.
Oh yeah.
It's by Street Fighter 5, the new one.
Oh man, nice one, nice choice. Is that
That
the
game-
new one?
Yeah, that game is so good.
Oh man, that's another game I hate didn't come out the gate with rollback. That game was so fun.
Oh, this one.
I had so much fun.
Go down. Yeah, right there. Yep, that one. Mm-hmm.
Where are we putting this?
Likely to play.
We gotta put.
You know, we gotta put multiverses. Absolutely will play. Put it in the top.
Yeah, but at the top.
Capcom versus SNK too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That's a good one. That's a good one.
Okay, back on the art conversation because that's the only one I can contribute to. Yes, I guess for people who like the 2D style, Street Fighter 3 is absolutely gorgeous. I'll give you that.
Yeah. Those animations. It was like nothing looked that good.
Go ahead and run that in absolutely will play. Everybody, I think everybody.
Yeah, Capcom vs SNK 2. That's a absolutely.
Also, Star Multiverses was is a Warner Brothers like fighting game. So it has like Shaggy, Batman, a bunch of their characters in there. It went away for a little bit, but it is coming back, I believe, this year or later.
In May.
Okay. I mean, but where would we put that?
In there?
Street Fighter 6.
Street Fighter 6 is absolutely.
That's my number one right now. That's a drug.
I see my ones right here already.
See, Project
See
Justice.
the tier list ain't got no slander tier, so it's like everything in here getting played to an extent, kinda. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Oh wow, y'all got For Honor in this list.
I played For Honor like a
man.
My eyes are really bad. Where's Street Fighter 6?
Fighting game, isn't it?
Street Fighter 6 is the third from bottom row to the right next to Ultimate Marvel Capcom 3.
Yep.
Mm-hmm. Go up one.
List, I wonder?
There you go.
Yep, right there.
That's okay.
Right, it's not. You don't really see the 6.
I was like, it kind of looks like a 6. Where are we putting this one?
Absolutely.
Absolutely. We'll
I think all of us either touched it or playing it right now.
We're all playing.
I don't even think we can rank this because it's the League of Legends fighting game.
That is. I played it at Evo. I played half my Evo trip around that.
Yeah, Project L. You put that and we'll try out.
that is an absolutely.
Everyone will try it out.
That's not even on my list.
I wonder if Absolver.
I absolutely am playing that game, but you can put it in we'll try out.
Yeah, I just think because not everybody has had a chance to play it. Because I just seen like promotion for it on their website.
Did anyone play Absolver back when it was a thing?
Yes, I did. Mm-hmm.
Said Absolver?
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes, that game was pretty tight.
There's only one game on this list I'm looking at right now that I just won't. I refuse to absolutely play. That's the one I just don't like. But
well, I know people in here earlier said they play Smash Ultimate. Where would that rank at?
Absolutely will play.
I would say absolutely.
If it gets rolled back, I'm there.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. If it gets rollback, no, let's go. Actually, that's a good one. Let's put it. If it gets
put it in rollback.
If it gets rollback,
Yeah.
If it gets rollback, it would be like they were releasing the game again for the first time.
Yeah. Everybody be happy.
Yeah.
Sandy, what about you?
Want Project Justice.
Oh yeah, is that where is that on there?
I got it right now.
Right there.
Fifth one down. Yep.
There we go.
It's such an underrated Dreamcast game that is so freaking fun.
Yes, it was. What team did you play?
I mostly played with Sakura, Asuka, and Momo, I think.
Oh, Momo, yes. I played with Shoma, Batsu, and Roy.
Ooh, that was tough.
Also, welcome in to all the Raiders. I hope you guys are having an amazing night. Thank you so much for sharing your community with us. We are just finishing up our conversation about the fighting game community with a tier list. Probably, like, realistically, unless we like speed ran it, we couldn't do all these games. But we're gonna have like 15 to 20 on here at the end. But please, Pop in here, let us know how you're feeling. If you just want to lurk, you're welcome to do that. Also, !point cast to check out all the amazing creators that are on here and the mods that are helping on the back end as well.
Do we have Tekken 8 on here? Because I think that deserves.
It has the.
Yeah.
It doesn't have the logo, but it just has the Tekken 8 words.
Absolutely will play.
Tekken 8 and I'm a big advocate for Guilty Gear Strive. It's lots of people that I've met that told me their first fighting game was Guilty Gear Strive, and they really liked it. And it's a great game.
Where do we put Tekken 8?
The top.
Absolutely. Everybody playing it right now.
And Guilty Gear could also be absolutely.
Yeah, Guilty Gear.
Strive at the top.
Yeah. That's another absolutely.
Absolutely.
They made a Power Rangers fighting game? How did I not
It
play
was
that?
so good. Power. It was good. It was fun.
Very
Wasn't it
good.
Battle for the Grid?
Yeah.
It's a crazy game.
It's a touch of death game. Learn.
Also had guest
There's a
characters.
side event. Yeah, that game is so funny enough. That's the type of game. So there are certain games that I recommend for people that want to get into fighting games, and others that I don't. I tell like, no, you need to play that after you play some other games, and that's how I feel about that Power Rangers, because you will die in one hit in that game, and the combos are very long. And if you're somebody who's not used to that, you're gonna be like, "What am I supposed to do?" It's not gonna be a fun time. I will put that in if there's a side event. We'll try out because Power Rangers is yeah.
Doug Leary,
side game.
what are you popping on here?
Who, me?
Yep.
I want to say a side event would be Ultimate Marvel vs. Capcom 3.
Yeah.
Infinite.
Port Infinite.
Capcom, give us
Say it's Phoenix Wright, just
There it
no
is.
objections in everybody.
You said side event?
Yeah, Ultimate.
Yes.
Yeah, side event.
It's
What was like the, I guess, what changed between like Marvel vs. Capcom 2 and then Ultimate 3?
Oh man.
It was a whole generation.
The roster.
Went to
It's
3v3.
lasted roster, really.
with the 3v3s.
New mechanics. You got X Factor.
Yep.
Yeah, I swear I played some of these in like an arcade, but it wasn't like anything crazy. I was playing my brother. We were just like button mashing, so it wasn't like anything serious. But I feel like it's a lot different going from like a family member to like someone pulling out a fight stick. You're like, wait a minute, where'd you get that from?
Oh man, I'm seeing something else on here that's got to go and absolutely will play. Dragon Ball Fighters, man. We're all Dragon Ball fans here. That's a must.
Yes, I agree.
If you like Dragon Ball and you like fighting games, you have to play Dragon Ball Fighters.
Like, you don't really have a choice at that point.
Right.
I see Melee. I encourage everyone to play it.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Where would y'all put that? Because I play a little bit of Melee. I was learning how to
wave dash,
do all of that stuff, and I was like, man, this game is really hard. I never entered a tournament in it, but I had a friend who did, and I used to play with him, so we were using like all of the tech. Where would y'all put that though in this list? I'm curious from like actual Smash players.
It is actually really a hype game to watch itself too. I would put it as absolutely will play. It's actually one of the highest fighting game It's not. I would put it at the number top because it's one of the highest viewed event matches or event tournaments ever happened for like Genesis or. When it was in Evo, it was like number one at Evo it was like a crazy amount of viewers. So I personally would say absolutely will play. I encourage everyone. There's always going to be all levels to play, and even if there's like a really good player that will teach a new player everything right away, and then that's just going to want them to play more and more and more. It's just one of those games I can go 0-2 and I'll still keep coming back for sure.
Yeah.
So.
Smash is super fun when you get to play.
The one thing about Melee that that really gets my attention compared to other fighting games is just how long you can play the game for. Like if you like, I could sit down with one other person, and we'll play it for like 3 or 4 hours without even knowing, and it's even though there's only like 26 characters, not that crazy of a roster, not that many viable characters, but like once you get a session going, it's hard to stop. Usually your hands give out before you actually give out.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah, the hand, like your hand life points is a thing.
Try being a Fox main and wave shining. It's not
Oh
fun.
my god, man! Like,
BSB, what about you?
I'm gonna say this just because it's not really a fighting game, but I can see why it's considered. But Windjammers is sick, and I think a lot of people play it.
That's the mystery game right there. Every mystery game I've ever entered has had that in it. It's always super
You
fun.
talking about this one? Oh wait, no, Windjammer. Right?
I mean, both are good, but I play the original one more. But it's basically just like it's like a mix of like soccer and air hockey in a way, where it's like you have characters that like have these special abilities, yada yada yada, and the whole point of the game is to get your frisbee into their goal. But there's also other ways of getting points, where it's like you can like knock them down, get it into a certain part of the goal. But like it gets to this point where every time you guys throw it back and forth, it gets faster and faster, and then it's just like this high intensity like game of air hockey, which is like something I've never seen in another fighting. Or I guess that's not even a fighting game, but like a game that kinda is like a fighting game, I guess.
Where do we put
There's
this?
brackets for it, so
I'd say we'll try out or like maybe if there's a side event. I wouldn't say devote your time into it, but like it's one of those games where you're like, I'll play it.
How do we feel about Marvel 2? Because y'all know if we don't put that on this list, we're gonna get flamed.
If it gets rolled back.
Said if it gets rolled back.
No, hold on. To be fair, it was one of the first inclusions of GGPO, I believe, on the 360. I'm not mistaken. I maybe might be thinking of something else, but I remember NBC2.
I thought that was Capcom vs. SK2.
Okay, then it could be that. So then that's fine. All right, put it where you want to put it. I ain't defending it. I got like 4 other games on this that I defend out of that, but that was number 5.
So we're talking about this one, right? Marvel vs. Capcom 2?
Yeah.
I don't like Infinite. Ugh.
Infinite was really fun, but that game.
I love that game.
It was fun.
Man,
where are we throwing this?
Chris and Zero.
Oh, nice.
The
Marvel 2, put it in likely to play. You can't put it too low.
Oh yeah.
People play that game. Anytime that game is somewhere, people play it. So you put likely to play.
Ava is on you.
Oh, okay. So look, this is a hard battle because a lot of my favorites. I'm the weeb. All right. So like literally, I'm gonna be real with you. We're gonna have to put that Melty Blood. It's if I say any game's the opposite of Smash, I'm gonna need that actress again, and always will play. It go up from you see Tekken 7. It's the game above Tekken 7 on the right.
Yeah. I was wondering if we were gonna put Melty Blood. Melty Blood's really good. It's super underrated game.
It go up. No, above that. Yep. Mm-hmm.
Okay.
That game is so gas. I'm personally putting it and always will play.
Okay. Do we have any we gotta put on here? Like
thoughts on Skullgirls? Huh? Skullgirl?
That's a sad event for me, bro. I want to play it, but I don't feel like learning it. I just like watching it.
Yeah. You could put that in the side event.
Skullgirls, yeah.
Melty Blood, that's a will. I would put the will try out. See, well, it's a absolutely for me, but people need to play that game. It's really fun. Not Melty Blood, Under Night Embers.
That game's cool. That game's super cool.
Gonna put this right here.
A lot of cool characters, good music.
You guys ever play Lethal League?
Yeah, it does get rolled back.
It just got paused for like a year. Bro, my friend was like, "Oh, we're gonna play." I was like, "Brother, you know this game isn't like technically exists right now, right?" you gotta wait. He's like, what?
Yeah, that's fair. That's fair. If we looking at it like
Game's in
that.
limbo.
I'll play it every day. I've been playing it since it went down because I just parsec it. So we
That's fair.
play it all the time. But
Oh man, we gotta put the Grand Blue Fantasy Versus in there. That's a really good one. It's really good. It's free to play right now.
see, it
That's
ain't
simple.
it ain't rising. So that's why I ain't say nothing.
Oh,
wait, there-
okay. It's not rising. Okay, yeah, that's what I was wondering. Yeah.
I put it in. You should put that if it got rolled back. First one didn't have
Yeah.
rolled back.
Okay. We'll do one more. Anybody have one that just sits
We're
out
at
to them?
15. King of
King
Fighters
of Fighters.
15.
King of Fighters 15. Yeah.
15? Is it on here?
Yeah,
There it
Fighting
is. There
Herd.
it is. Yeah.
No, wait, no, that doesn't seem
Go
right.
down. You see the fighting herds? Go down. No, that's 14. Go down again. Yeah, that's 15. Yep.
Bro, I don't know Roman numerals at all.
That's right.
Star Wars got to like 10, and I was like, please stop.
Yeah, there it is.
There it
Okay, I
is.
only know because of
Yeah.
Final Fantasy. Don't feel bad.
What are we throwing this?
Likely we will play.
Yes, likely we'll play.
Yeah.
Okay.
KOF.
I think it's a good list. I will save this and I'll post it on Twitter. So then, if anybody has any issues, I don't get yelled at.
Oh no.
Me.
No, but all jokes aside, I hope everybody did have fun today. Once again, please thank you so much for taking like the time out of your day to come on here and to talk with me. I was just kind of here to mediate and guide the conversation along a little bit. I wanted you all to get the chance to speak your piece and for you to be the like actual highlight of today's event. So thank you so much for taking the time out of your day. Once again, and I cannot say this enough, !cast, go and follow all of them, okay? If you got Twitch Primes, drop the Twitch Primes. If you want to go check out their YouTube video, go do that. Make their TikTok blow up, okay, before it goes away, because apparently it's getting banned. Go and show them all the love in the world, okay? And if you run into
I'm in
them,
Mexico, baby.
that's fair. If you run into them in a fighting game, I would just say run. I'm be so honest. Especially Team Mark, you're going to get
I
grabbed.
mean, if you run into me in a fighting game, be
That
nice
Star
to
Wars
me,
game
please.
sucked. I'm sorry. That Star Wars game really, really sucked.
No, but thank you all so much for being on here. If anybody has anything they want to say before we rate out, you all have the floor. We are going to be rating out into someone that is playing Tekken currently. So I'll let you guys have the floor and then we'll send out the raid.
Okay, I got one message for everybody. If you're new to fighting games, if you're old to fighting games, listen, it's all an experience, right? You don't need to be good to play fighting games. You just got to turn on the game to play it. It all starts there. And I think once you just find that enjoyment of just having fun and getting into the lore or whatever other reason you like to play the game, you will definitely know why fighting games is awesome by playing them an hour into it or however long it takes you. You will get there where you want to be.
That's a good one. I would just say for all of the new players, potential new players, give yourself time. Don't be so hard on yourself. Learn at your own pace. Don't worry about so much what other people are doing initially. Just focus on learning the game and have fun, most importantly. Because when these games no longer become fun, that's not a good thing. So have fun.
Pick who you think looks cool or meshes with how you would want to play the game. Ignore anyone talking to you about tier lists when you're starting out because that's not going to apply to you.
Yeah, stay away from those.
I mean, most of the time it doesn't apply to me, and I play a lot.
Yeah,
So,
the medal list on. Not to go by.
so just play who you want.
Wow.
Have fun.
Exactly. That's the main thing. I just have fun. Look, try to get better if you want to get better. If you're just on there to enjoy it right then, and it's like a once a week thing, while you're on there, just have fun, play with some friends, make some new friends, and overall, just enjoy the games and the community while you have them. Try to make them better no matter what. Just make sure whatever you're doing, you're putting good out there. If that good is beating up on someone in Tekken or Mortal Kombat until they learn to get better, hey, do that, okay? It helps somebody learn somewhere. But we're super grateful to have all of you on here, and I love that we were able to do this episode. We are going to be rating out to someone that is playing Tekken 8, so please show them some love. Copy the raid message. We're going to go to our end credit scene, so during that time, if any of you subbed, followed, anything like that, it will highlight you. Then the raid will be sent out. Once again, thank you so much for joining me. If you're on the panel, thank you so much for joining me. If you're in the chat, thank you so much if you rated in. We love you. We appreciate you. Have a good morning, a good night, an evening, wherever you are. See you later.
Peace. Thank you.
See you all around.